We're going to go over the parentheses and dash DLR that you've been working on yesterday and today. And I'm not sure how much you actually went over the explanations in class, so we'll do that first before we go over the answers. So you've been talking about some new punctuation, dashes, parentheses, hyphens, ellipses, all of those, and they all kind of have different ways of sort of making you pause. So that's kind of one of the biggest things that you should get out of why we're using and learning about these different things, with the exception of a hyphen. Now, you should have known that a hyphen, you can separate words, it can join two words together, so that isn't actually part of this pausing idea here, but the main thing is that these punctuation marks, especially today, parentheses and dash, they're adding stuff to a sentence, or they're separating things. So the parentheses is used to enclose material that is added to a sentence, but it's not necessarily super important. So we could probably take it out and you wouldn't lose meaning in the sentence. So that's kind of the most important thing there. For a dash, you use a dash, and a dash is different than a hyphen because a dash is longer. So if I were using a hyphen, I might say, I am self-aware. I know that's kind of hard to read. So in that case, we're using a dash. Now, if I wanted to use a hyphen, I might say, that we used a hyphen here. Don't let me confuse you. And if we want to use a dash, now a dash is actually kind of showing this abrupt break in thought. And that's kind of important because whatever is in between the dashes or what comes after it, it might be unfinished or it might be a question. So don't necessarily think that it has to be a complete thought, okay? So we're going to go over the answers for the first 5 that you did yesterday. So our first sentence yesterday, Kelly, he's definitely one of a kind, made the statement that women had no part in the early development of computer languages. So for this one, this whole idea that he's definitely one of a kind, it's kind of like I'm adding something to this sentence. It's kind of like a break in my thought because I'm describing him. So in this case, we would use the dash. So it's kind of this long hyphen. You can think of it that way. So we would have it before or between Kelly and he's, and then kind and made. Okay. And again, I could probably take that out and it would make sense, but it's kind of like I'm adding another thought to this. So that's why we would use a dash instead. For number 2, I found this hard to believe considering, according to my mother and aunts, how many women work in the field of computer languages today. So you should ask yourself, do I need to know who in this case in order for the rest of the sentence to make sense? Do I need to know who this is according to? Not really, because it's not like we're citing people in reality here. So in this case, we would probably put these in the parentheses, according to my mother and aunts, because I could take that out and say, I found this hard to believe, considering how many women work in the field of computer languages today. That would make sense without it. For number 3, my skepticism and curiosity, they're both trademarks of mine, prompted me to research the issue. So in this case, I could honestly probably see it go either way. I personally would probably use the dash between curiosity and there, and then mine and prompted, because it's kind of like I'm adding this little bit about myself and further explaining what this like being skeptical and curiosity means, why that's important, okay? For number 4, in no time I'd learned about Grace Murray Hopper, 1906 to 1992. And this one should be easy. You've seen this probably a million times in your history book. So when you have dates, you're always going to put those in parentheses. And actually, this little period goes outside. So make sure you have the punctuation in the right place, too. For number 5, this American Navy officer and mathematician helped to develop COBOL, a programming language for the UNIVAC, the first commercial electronic computer. So COBOL, this acronym here, is actually describing this computer. Everything that's coming after it, a programming language for the UNIVAC, isn't really necessarily important to understanding what COBOL means. So in this case, we would put this whole thing here in the parentheses, because we could take it out and probably still understand what the sentence is talking about. Okay, so those are the first 5 from the other day. If you missed any of these, obviously make the corrections, but we'll kind of go from here for the next set. So number 6 through 10, I think maybe are a little bit trickier. So for number 6, several years earlier in 1952, she had devised the first compiler, which is a program that translates instructions in English to a computer language. In this sentence, I actually personally probably would not even use parentheses or dash, because I think it's important. I think where the workbook would probably put the punctuation is maybe in 1952 in parentheses, because the rest of this is kind of important, and this word which tells you that this is a dependent clause, which means it has to be part of the sentence because it's describing this over here. So if anything, we would put parentheses over here around the, again, in 1952, but personally I would probably leave it. I wouldn't put anything in the sentence. Okay. For number 7, she retired from the Navy at the age of 80 when most people are putting their feet up, only to begin serving as a senior consultant for a major computer manufacturer. So in this sentence, they're saying she retired from the Navy at age 80, and then we have this other little idea here when most people are putting their feet up. It's kind of like an interjection into that sentence. So in this case, I would probably use the dash here. So 80 dash, when most people are putting their feet up, dash, only to begin serving as a senior consultant, blah, blah, blah. So in this case, I think it's kind of a break into, this part's kind of breaking into the sentence with a different thought, because it's related but not. So for number 8, during her long lifetime, 86 years, she frequently must have been amazed by technological advances. For this one, we would definitely use the parentheses here, because we don't necessarily need to know exactly how long it was to understand that she lived a long time, okay? Whether you live for 80 or 90 or 100 years, it's all a long time. So we could probably take that out and it'd still make sense. For number 9, the next day I supplied Kelly gently, of course, with the information about Hopper. Do we need to know how the information was supplied? Probably not. So in this case, we would probably put gently, of course, in parentheses, because I could take that out. I don't really need to know how you gave someone information. That doesn't change anything about the sentence. And then number 10, I hope that in the future, though I have my doubts, he will check out the facts before he gives his opinion. In this case, though I have my doubts, is kind of like an interjection in thought, because it's giving this person's opinion here. So in this case, again, we're interrupting the sentence, so we would add the dashes between future and though, and then doubts and he. Okay? So again, the main thing, if you got some of these wrong, that's fine, but the main thing to understand is that, especially for your scary story or your creative writing story that you'll be doing tomorrow for the writing prompt, using the dash is a really good way to kind of like interrupt thoughts. So think of like a suspense story. Think of at the beginning of The Telltale Heart, you had all those like interrupted, short, kind of choppy sentences, and the reason the author did that was to show you how crazy that narrator was, to show that he like didn't even have coherent, normal thoughts. So it's important to keep this particular piece of punctuation in mind as you start working. And then just as another tip for the writing prompt, it'll be really important. You're going to have to demonstrate that you know how to use at least 2 of these types of punctuation. I think probably 2 of the easiest ones would be the dash and then the ellipses, the ... that you already learned about the other day, because those are the best kind of for creating the suspense. But you can use the hyphen, you can use the parentheses. It doesn't matter to me what you use, you just have to be able to demonstrate 2 of them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or ask Mr. Matson when he returns. Otherwise, good luck on the writing prompt, and I look forward to reading your stories. Bye-bye.